One, that's my move. I'm in base, and with both of my hands like this, bracing his knee. From this position, I'm gonna sit back, flipping the person over.
I've done something similar to that with people before. You know, it's I don't really have much to say about this. I will say that when I would do it, right, I've done it a few times. I'm not saying it's like, you know, that's my bread and butter, because truthfully, like, I don't get caught in guillotines that much. It just doesn't happen to me all the time. But that's kind of like a last ditch, like, oh, I'm in this. I'm really in this. I'm not just going to be able to power out of it or, you know, do anything else. I would take my right arm, I'd reach over, and I'd try to grab any material that I could. And then instead of going to this knee, I would take the other arm and reach under. I shit you not. Reach right in between his legs. I'd be here, and then I'd roll backwards. And I'd roll, to the best of my ability, into a side control. A side control that is going to help me to alleviate the choke enough, right? He's not just going to let go a lot of the time. A lot of time, people's panic reaction is to try and tighten up, but it's not going to be the same kind of choke that it was before. It's just going to be annoying. It's not going to be potentially deadly, you know? So yeah, I really don't have much of an issue with that.
Back, flipping the person over.
Dropping for a single leg is not the worst idea in the world here. However, there's nothing about dropping to a single leg that immediately will alleviate the choke unless you do it in a very specific way. And it can be tough to do. What you need to do is get your hips underneath you so that instead of being hunched over like this, you can look up to the sky. And that's going to make it a little bit easier for you to not be getting choked right in that moment. It can still be pretty tough because the way that you're going to finish that single leg a lot of the time is you're going to have to go back to a position that's not too dissimilar to this one right now. It's just now you happen to have their leg in between your legs and you're hugging it. And that's why in jiu-jitsu they tell you, yo, don't shoot in with your head to the outside. A single leg here, it seems to make sense because here's the leg right there, but the more time you spend here and the more time you spend in a guillotine in general, the more time you're giving him to actually finish the guillotine. So you just want to get the hell out of there as soon as you can.
I'm stuck because now he's using his weight. I can't push him that way. So what I want to do here is hook this leg.
Oh, what?
One. Use the hook on the leg and walk my way around, holding the hand, getting out of this.
Will that work though? Maybe if he's not absolutely positively trying to keep you there, it might work, right? Because here's the thing. You notice Royce here is not trying absolutely positively to keep him against the wall or anything like that, right? It's just not happening. I feel like somebody who doesn't know what jiu-jitsu is and has somebody up against the wall like that, they're going to turn their hips so that they're crushing more of this person's body up against the wall. I feel like that's how an untrained person would react in this situation where they were working with the wall. I feel like they'd also be really trying to pull this way, or, you know, in this case, this way with the head. So it's a situation where it's like, yeah, I guess in theory, just kind of
is hook this leg.
Like,
one.
Like in theory, I guess. But I feel like, again, in reality, when somebody is really trying to be like, they feel your weight shift that way, so they're like, oh, they just keep on shifting to match your weight shift. I don't know if that's going to work. You see wall work in MMA, but you don't see that position where somebody's got a bully choke on somebody in MMA. I've seen one bully choke in MMA, and it was the Ben Askren-Robbie Lawler fight. That's it.
You want to drop in base, making sure that your body is not straight up, because if I'm straight up looking this way, he can pull me back. I want to look down. It's very important that you're able to see your toes at this point, which will keep your body in a certain angle forward. From this position here, as he pulls me back, I'm heavy. I have enough leverage to prevent him from pulling me back. From this position, I want to bring my head straight down between my legs.
This is dependent on him not having that good of a rear naked choke, which Royce purposefully did not apply a good one. The reality is, if you get ambushed like that, it's going to be really, really hard for you to put yourself in this position. First off, one thing you want to do is take your chin and tuck it. Because if he's across the chin, it's really going to hurt your chin, and you can break your jaw and things like that. It can happen, but breaking your jaw is not nearly as common as being choked out by something like this, right? And then in addition to that, one thing that he did do is he tried to make sure that he started hand fighting. He protected his neck with both of his arms. But right now, if Royce was really, really trying, I don't think there would be anything that he could do. And it's not just because Royce is like extra, extra strong or something like that. It's because look at how it gets
behind,
right?
You want to drop him
again, like he purposefully stopped the arm here. You wouldn't stop the arm here. You'd come all the way back, right? And then you could go into the rear naked choke if you wanted. Even someone who doesn't do jujitsu, maybe they watched the UFC, or they just had a wild idea one day. What would happen if I did this to somebody, right? They're not just going to apply it 75% like that. And because of that, this is just like, it immediately is disqualified. Like, yeah, in theory, if somebody got a bad one, like if you tucked your chin and you protected your neck and they didn't get all the way through, yeah, in theory, you could potentially do something like that. But it's just not going to work.
Is making sure that your body is not straight up, because if I'm straight up,
he has access to the throat
back.
right now. He has access to the neck right now.
I want to look down.
Again,
it's very important that you're able to see your toes at this point forward.
He is correct that you'd rather be here than being, straightened out, than being pulled backwards. But like, even now, he's just pulling down so that the arm is going into the throat more.
This position here, as he pulls me back, I'm heavy. I have enough leverage to prevent him from pulling me back. From this position, I want to bring my head straight down between my legs. And he'll fall over like that. From here, I want to rest my weight on his arm, step behind the leg, and then spin around. Be sure to adjust your base or whatever you need.
That's just not going to work that way. He's not just going to let go when he feels you starting to turn away. He's going to clamp down more, And that's kind of an issue with a lot of these self-defense things, including, I guess, Gracie Street self-defense. They operate under the assumption that you're going to be able to use leverage in a way that's going to be completely and totally unable to be countered just by somebody using the natural human instinct to latch onto something that somebody's trying to take from them.